Welcome to another edition of Resilient Living Podcast, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. Today's episode 28, and it's a motivational rant. Coming from a place, the inspiration today is that I lost some really cool stuff that I was after. A place to live, to completely change the course of my family's life, my life. And I also lost the big old job that was supposed to pay for it. And you know what? I'm excited about it, in a way. So that's what I want to talk about today. Before I do, please excuse the background noise. That's my vehicle here on my work commute. But let's get into it. I think that the reason I'm coming out today and wanting to speak about this is I know that a lot of people suffer from fear of failure and just from starting on anything. They're just so scared. And the reason I know is I listen and I watch around me and I observe people. And it's very sad because we learn a lot. And sometimes we learn the hard way when we go into things with emotions. And that's exactly what happened with me. Well, not exactly, but I learned, I kind of forgot about this for a while because I got really emotional. Let's talk about the place first. South Carolina is the place here in the United States. I know we got listeners from different parts of the world, but South Carolina, why would I look at South Carolina? Because it's cheaper than most places. I live in sunny side Southern California in San Diego right now, and it's very expensive here. I love it so much. The weather's so perfect. You can grow year round. We talk about resiliency and sustainability, and that's one of the key factors of why I like it here so much. I mean, as long as you got water, you're able to grow year round. You can grow tropical things such as papayas and stuff like that. So it's a really cool place. But you know what it lacks? The water. That's a really bad thing. We have a what do they call that? A Mediterranean climate here. So it's really, really wonderful, but dry, everything. It turns in literally, in my book, it turns into like a little desert. And we're at the last tail end. We have a water pipe that comes in and is sucking water from way up northern California, and I believe the Colorado River and things like that. And there's some issues going on with the water right now. So expensive, a water problem, and I'm very much into permaculture, and that's what we're going to talk about on the show a lot. We're going to revisit that because as far as a sustainable and resilient life, it doesn't really get better than permaculture, natural farming, and things like that. So what I looked at was who is the greatest permaculture guy or gal or person that's out there. And that happens to be Jeff Lawton in my book. There's a lot of people doing things, but Jeff Lawton's pretty much the prince of permaculture. Some people deem him. He's also been anointed by Bill Mollison, who passed away, to continue Bill Mollison's work, who is one of the founders of permaculture. And when I looked and thought about this, and I never really thought about this before, like where would he go? Where would they set shop up? And that was a very powerful moment for me to go, well, let's mimic what he's doing. He must know something out of all. This guy's greening the deserts and doing all kinds of wonderful work for people, nations, towns, cities, states, countries. So he chose to live in a place in Australia that almost completely mimics the area of South Carolina. As far as the weather goes, there's about 40 to 80 inches of rain, depending on where you're at in South Carolina. So I looked at that and I says, well, if Jeff Lawton had to stay in the United States, he would probably go to South Carolina because of the water and the climate. It's warm enough to grow a lot of things. So I was really excited about it and thought I found the answer. And it just opened up my mind, my soul, and everything. I was like, you know what? We finally got it. And really, really cool is South Carolina has a lot of mobile homes on it. And when I started looking through, it looked like there wasn't very much building code stuff going on there like there is in Southern California. So let's just say if someone wanted to pop up a windmill or something like that, you wouldn't have the city coming down going, nope. The Department of Make You Sad going, nope, let's tear that down and we're going to fine you, a couple $100 for not asking first. I looked and I said, that's really nice. Maybe I could dig a wafati, which is a home. It's like a hobbit home inside of a hillside, right? In the dirt where it's naturally insulated and stuff like that. Temperature will be regulated at around 50s to 60 degrees year round, whether it's hot or cold. And it'll last for a very, very long time. And it's cool because you can't even see the house. All you see is a door and a window and maybe a chimney stack. So Yeah, very affordable as well. Big, lots of land. I found a lot of land that had its own lake on it, and there was alligators. There's gator in the area, and I was like, well, we can figure out something. But the thing that got me was that I wasn't asking the right types of questions. I wasn't searching for the right type of information. That wasn't completely my fault because what I did is I searched for natural disasters. So this whole story is going somewhere here. I searched for natural disasters, and what I came across was hurricanes in South Carolina, and it looks like the hurricanes tear the heck out of that part of the country. Um, so I didn't see anything on tornadoes, earthquakes, other things. So I started really diving in. I said, well, that sounds like every video after video of these hurricanes, and I studied a lot. It seemed like a lot was more inland, or I'm sorry, during the coastal areas. So I said, well, maybe let's go to the inland areas. It's cheaper anyways for land and things like that. And then I started getting really excited. I started looking up what is there to hunt out there. There's pigs, there's deer, there's wild boar, there's turkeys, all kinds of wonderful things. Wonderful fishing out there in the ocean. There's foraging because it's so wet. There's lots of mushrooms and stuff growing out there. So tons of wild foraging, hunting, and all kinds of different things. Come to find out, I stumbled across a video of a tornado at a school, and this tornado picked up a car, like 2 or 3 cars, and just dumped them on top of each other. And I looked at this and I said, well, I didn't hear anything about tornadoes. I didn't dig deep enough. I didn't ask enough questions. So I started digging down, and sure enough, last year in 2020, they had a tornado that came, a series of tornadoes. They says it's pretty common to have anywhere from like 10, I think it was, to 16 tornadoes, like warnings a year. There was 56 warnings, I believe what it was, or 56 touchdowns of tornadoes in 2020. And what was crazy, it was like a pitchfork. One row of tornadoes went straight along the coast, one went straight directly down the middle, and one went straight up the upper part of the country. So it's like there was nowhere safe. And then where I decided the safest spot from hurricane stuff would probably be central South Carolina. And a tornado actually landed there and killed, I think, like 5 or 8 people, destroyed 150 homes. And that kind of ended it for me. I'm not doing tornadoes, people. That I can't imagine trying to build a tornado bunker or something where it rains 80 inches a year, where you probably get flooded out. I don't know. But just the fact that you have to sit and worry about a tornado ripping your home apart, or your entire garden, your greenhouses and everything, and just demolishing everything on the surface while you're hiding underground. Maybe I'll revisit it one day, but I came in with emotions. I got really excited, and that's kind of what messed me up. I ended up drinking some extra wine that night. I was like, oh, this really sucks. But in the exact same day, I come to find that a job, which is, for those of you who are just following me, I'm an entrepreneur and I own my own business, and I had a chance against 2 other people to bid on a fairly large job. We're talking 6 figures here, well into 6 figures. Like enough, this job would have got me like my piece of land someplace, and I've still got money. I'm still good and everything, but it was just really exciting to go, wow. And I strategically placed it where it looked like I was in the slot. I'm going to get this thing. Well, things changed because the job was so much, it's got to go to public bid. So now instead of going against 2 guys, I'm probably going to go against 50 to maybe 80. So I haven't completely lost it yet, but the odds are probably, who knows? Who really knows what's going to happen with that? And I really got upset about it. And, I learned so much off of both of these things here, both of these occurrences in my life. And what it is that the biggest one, I think, is going into anything with emotions like that and letting the emotions run you. Because the thing I realize in life, I've realized with myself, is that a lot of us are in love with the dream, but not the reality of things. There's a lot of sequence of events and things that need to happen before we actually get to where we want to go. But we need to understand, come up with a plan, and treat it like a business to understand how are we going to make this thing happen successfully. Let's just look, if I thought that I got that job and I got cocky, because it really did look like I got it, and I went and pulled out a loan and bought a piece of land or something, I'd be in debt. I'd lose that money and I'd be in debt if I got cocky, right? What happened if I moved to South Carolina and I didn't look into tornadoes? Next thing I know, there's a tornado warning, and I'm going, what the heck? What is this? And a tornado comes and just so happens to rip my farm apart, my brand new trees I just planted and everything. It just wrecks everything. And I'm freaked out. My kids are freaked out, and we're looking, going, we need to go home. We need to get out of here. But now we're stuck with a mortgage. You look at how bad these things can happen. So in order to get out of whatever we're in, that's a job in and of itself. And then to get into something that we want, I believe that it takes a lot of things like thought experiments. Our great friend Albert Einstein taught me that. That's how he came up with this theory of the speed of light, of time travel, and all kinds of different crazy things. He actually imagined that he was chasing a flash of light, and that if he caught up to the pinpoint where the light was flying, that he would have defied time and gravity and all these sort of things. So he just came up with this whole concept that boggles my mind. But he said just using his imagination, his thoughts, is what got him some of the most powerful experiments that he's ever done. And that's what kind of got him to where he is. I have mine on a very low monkey scale. So a lot of things that I do, I dry run them in my head. And I guess what I'm trying to say here is that it's really good to sabotage things, to deliberately try to mess things up in your head. And I know a lot of people probably say, that sounds cruel and evil and mean. But then what we're talking about, though, is if you go and you have a bucket full of rainbow glitter, right, and you want to keep that bucket, you want to have friends come and try to poke holes into that thing to see if they can mess it up. You want to try to mess it up. You want to find all its weak points and everything, and you want to ask questions, and think about asking the right types of questions. I've asked a lot of the old timers, the elders that I used to have around me. I would ask them specific questions on how to do things and stuff. And it wasn't until I actually asked a specific question to where I got my answer. And we had to fish for it. So sometimes we're just kind of all over the place. And that's what I've learned, is to hone your mind down and hone your thoughts and your direction down to exactly what it is that you want. Because I think that's that dream that gets us all flustered up when we have 10 things that's going on in our minds at once. When we could just pick one, zero in on it, and then ask the right questions or make the right move, make the right type of findings to educate ourselves about these things, about all the giant spectrum, find out all the information we can, find out all the weak points, and then make a decision from there. So I think a lot of people jump into things, and it's really sad. And that's one of my big things is I look at is I've seen and witnessed, and I've done it myself as well, where people just jump into something. We'll just see, we'll make it work. And then it fails. And then they shut off like forever. Like they don't want to do things. That was a big financial ouchie for me. And I can't believe I did that. I'll never do that again. I'll never invest or change where I live. And I've had friends that we lived in a bad part of town, and I told them, I said, we were already in our 20s, and I said, let's get out of here. Let's just go move to Hawaii, or let's go to some new places. And no, I was born and raised here. This is the only place I'll ever live, even though they hated it. So they shut down. I don't know why. And this is the fear. These are the things that I look at for people that that are scared of failure. And failure is where we learn so much. Big businesses fail all the time. Big people, me, I fail all the time. Anybody who doesn't fail is full of crap. But the thing that's crazy is how much you can learn. And when you do have something, we talk about resiliency and sustainability. When you do learn where things fail, those lessons go along into other things. So now you can look at something like investing or building yourself a house or starting a farm or a new business or something. You can take all the things you learn from those failures and you can apply them and look and go, so this is how I can make this thing sustain and not fail. These are things that they can't teach you in school, and you have to kind of learn on your own sometimes. So failure is actually our friend, and I think that this is what's going to help a lot of us, and it's completely backwards where a lot of people are completely frightened of it. So we try to find stuff that is consistent, and easy, where nothing's consistent and easy. Things always change and evolve, and if we don't change with the times, life's not going to be too pretty for us. So I don't know. That's my message, guys. Is I hope that you guys go out there and screw stuff up deliberately, right? And go well, I don't mean just screw everything you got up. Try to sabotage your ideas, your dreams. Try to get it to where you can get a plan to fix all the problems and all the downfalls of it, so that you can actually live your dream in a sustainable, resilient way. Guys, if I brought you any value for this show, please like, subscribe. A review would be enormous for this show on the podcast end. I don't know if they do that for YouTube, but give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever. I don't care. I'm just the people who this message reaches that understand how to want to get ahead. That this message is for you. So, guys, you can check it out. Resilientlpodcast at gmail.com. Everything's in the descriptions below. You guys can email me. Resilient Living Podcast is on Instagram now. So, guys, as I always say, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire and human up, my friends.